YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Rome 2 with some online action. It's been a while since I've gotten you a battle. Why Total War Rome 2 and not Attila or another game? This is the only decent couple of online battles that I've gotten in a while, and honestly the first one's not my favorite, but I'll show it to you out of fairness. This is actually now 4 matches that I've played against this guy, Zeal Anger. The last Rome Total War online battle I showed you was against him, and I had played one previous to that in which he slaughtered my Lusitani army with the Roman army. And this guy's been pretty fun. He seems to play on roughly the same skill level as me, so it makes for a very nice challenge. Now, I decided to be kind of stupid. I don't know what made me think this was a good idea, but I decided I wanted to try and out-hoplite Sparta with hoplites. Yeah. So this battle isn't going to go easily for me, because I don't know what made me think that was a smart idea. So my Carthaginian army is 3 Balearic Slingers. Just go ahead and show you. So 3 Balearic Slingers, a mercenary Syrian archer. I'm not sure why it shows me as the red guy here. 2 Carthaginian Cav, 4 mercenary Iberian swordsmen, 6 late Carthaginian hoplites, and 2 Sacred Band hoplites that I was hoping might match up favorably in certain spots. But my opponent brought a build that I really wasn't expecting. I've seen it before, but no one does it hardly, so I didn't expect it. He's brought a hoplite build with pikes. And what he's going to do is engage me with the hoplites so I can't run away, and then poke the pikes through the hoplites. This helps you beat down sword infantry, potentially, with hoplites, so it's a pretty clever build. I want to say that Maximus showed this once before. It can work, so his main line is Spartan hoplites, and then he's got 4 Perioikoi pikemen behind them. He's got, I think, a Royal Spartan, maybe 1 or 2 Heroes of Sparta. I think there's 1 on each flank, yeah. And then he's just brought crap skirmishers. Now, I actually expected really good skirmishers from Sparta, and so this is what caught me off guard. So my opponent cleverly picked his army here in such a way that my army, already mispicked, trying to go hoplite on hoplite, is now extremely mispicked, because I have all this money tied up in skirmishers that aren't going to be able to do a whole lot of good. So I can't really run away from his hoplites. I don't want to engage them. But I think where I do make a mistake here is I have 8 hoplite units up front. My opponent only has 6, because he's got some Perioikoi hoplites mixed in here. So I should have just taken the 2 extra free units I had and tried to move to the flank. It still wouldn't have done me much good, though, because I would have ended up going on with these Heroes of Sparta, but at least I could have held up the Hero of Sparta and then gotten behind it and javelined it to death with the mercenary Iberian swordsman. Let's watch what I do instead, which is I just kind of tank up and get ready to take this fight head on, which is a massive mistake. And again, this is one of the few ways that pikes can be advantageous, is when you do something like this. See how he's going to engage me so I can't run away, and then he's going to go into hoplite wall, and he can chase me if I start to run away, and then he's going to move up the pikes for extra support just to make sure that I can't win. So a very smart move indeed by my opponent. And I don't know if the sound is too loud, because I've adjusted my microphone since I've done this, so I'm going to tweak the sound down just a little bit. May not be too loud, but just in case. Yeah, so yeah, hold on, just in case. Let's go back in here to the sound. Like I said, I don't know what the sound's like, and if it gets too quiet, then I apologize, but let's pull this down just to make sure it isn't, because like I said, I've changed my mic recently, and I don't want the whole battle to be ruined by it being too loud. So yeah, in any case, his Tarentine Cav really isn't a huge threat here. But I mean, what am I supposed to do at this point? I've already gotten all engaged up front. It's going to go poorly for me. I can't engage Heroes of Sparta with Iberian swordsmen. I'm trying to keep his Tarentine Cav busy, but I'm just outnumbered. I've chosen a stupid army, and there's really nothing for me to do with my skirmishers to help ward this off either. He's got these extra Perioikoi spears, which are going to be very handy for doing just this, chasing my skirmishers now and helping to pin me down where I can't do anything. So slowly but surely, I'm going to lose this fight. And some of you be like, you didn't let us see the... Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen here. See how he's got his pikes poking through? So this is an effective way to use pikes. If I run away, I'll take losses and he can chase me with the Spartans. What would have worked better here is to just go ahead and bring a ton of swords, which is going to make it a lot harder for Sparta. And then I could have just had 6 swords match him in the center and start working on his flanks, not waste the money on the expensive skirmishers, and just gone more mobile to take out any Spartan skirmishers that he attempts to use against me. Would have been a much smarter plan. My swords would have matched up a lot better against his guys, and it just would have worked out better for me. Like, even these Sacred Band hoplites just not really going to be able to do much here. And I think that I forgot to put the Sacred Band, at least this one is not in hoplite phalanx, which is a mistake. Yeah, you can see that I'm going to take slow but steady losses to his pikemen. They're not going to get a ton of kills, but they're going to get enough. And then I start to make little mistakes like this too, which are just sealing my fate even further, allowing his Tarantine Cav to get charges on my skirmishers. I don't have enough skirmish power to kill what's going to be left of his troops anyway, but this is just a blunder on my part to let this happen. Going around the back of his lines wouldn't do any good anyway. Carthaginian Cav is hardly going to start causing a rout amongst these units. My light Carthaginian hoplites, though, are performing quite well versus his Spartan hoplites. So, I mean, I figured they would. The problem is with the pikes behind, and then the extra, like, heroes of Sparta that are running around here. Yeah, it's pretty much over. Now, the one fight that I might be able to win out here is my Iberian swordsmen taking on these periwinkle spears, but that's not much of a fight anyway. And I'm not even sure they'll win that, to be honest. And right here where I rear charged this Heroes of Sparta, I shouldn't have done this. I should have stopped and just hurled javelins into the back of it. So I finally deal with this Tarantine Cav for the most part. There's still a little bit of it left. But I'm going to be able to at least get rid of some of his Heroes of Sparta here. Yeah, his Royal Spartans have already racked up a bunch of kills and hardly any losses. So yeah, my general's in a bad position. It's just not a good match for me. I've taken a match here that's just not good. And see how the fight continues, and my guys just inevitably end up tangled up with his pikes, and he really can't retreat. This is a problem. I didn't even pay attention to a lot of my frontline units because this was pretty much over when it started. It was just a big mistake for me. But I'm going to give him some fight here. I'm going to go ahead and kill his Tarantine Cav. I'm going to keep my general mobile and just try and get around here and do some good. So I think I do try and squeeze my general through this little gap here and bring him around. Not that he can do a whole lot, but he can at least be a pest. And then here I'm going to give these Heroes of Sparta a quick distraction charge, and then just start peppering them from behind with my Balearic Slingers. Now, this is about the only thing that Slingers can hope to do against Heroes of Sparta. They need time, and they need to shoot them in the rear. That's the only way they're going to cause any substantial damage. But I mean, skirmishers are capable in this game. They don't have enough ammo to take out whole armies like they do in some other Total War games, but they'll be deadly. And these Heroes of Sparta are going to pay dearly for being out here without support. They can't catch my men, and they're just going to get peppered here with high damage projectiles from some pretty strong skirmish units. Now, I should have had these archers and heavy shot, so that's a mistake on my part as well, as if I hadn't made enough. And you can see where this battle's going, so honestly, I'm just going to fast forward and kind of let you watch, see how this plays out. Not a whole lot else is going to happen. Like I said, I get to kill a bunch of these Heroes of Sparta, which is great. But I mean, great. It's not really going to save me here. This is pretty clever little idea I get here where he's chasing me, so I charge him while he's unbraced, pull away while his men are getting up, shoot them in the back, and then just rinse and repeat. And I do manage to get rid of his periwinkle spear, so I'll say that is one thing for Rome 2 versus Attila. The skirmishing mechanics are a lot more alive. This game definitely revolves around a heavy infantry meta. There is no question about it. Heavy sword infantry with high charge are the rulers of Rome 2. But I still find that this game, and don't get me wrong, I like Attila. I like the campaign a lot. The multiplayer, though, gets bland very fast, and I'm going to say this as a critique for someone who loves Total War. The Creative Assembly has not paid enough attention to the multiplayer in Rome 2, and they haven't paid enough attention to it in Attila. They made some huge strides in Rome 2 when they went to Emperor Edition, and I think a lot of people agree with that, and I would think they'd be incorrect to say otherwise. However, there were still a lot of things that they never addressed in the end of this game that they should have, like the fact that Roman infantry does worse against barbarian infantry on open ground. That doesn't make any sense. It's completely ahistorical, and it just doesn't make sense. And history isn't everything. I'm just saying that it's just weird. It doesn't make... Barbarians should do good in the forest. It was just odd. Except Rome was good in the forest and on the hills and everything else, and the barbarians were fantastic on open ground. Levy Freemen were a little too strong. Melee cavalry got a little over-nerfed. On Attila, it's crazy overpowered on the other side. So, I mean, the problem with Attila is that there's not as much faction variety, and this creates a lot of your issues in Attila. It's very predictable. Shock infantry, heavy melee cav, and cheap skirmishers. That's pretty much the name of the game in Attila if you're playing it from a competitive standpoint. Now, does that mean that you can't play the game with your buddy and have some fun? Absolutely. It's been that way in every Total War. It's just that I really am disappointed in the lack of attention that the Creative Assembly has given to the multiplayer in this last couple of titles, and it seems like they just keep pointing to Total War Arena. Well, I mean, I'm not here to be mean or anything. I've never played Arena, and it might be fantastic. In fact, it's kind of frustrating. I haven't gotten to play Arena yet. I think there would have been opportunities if I could have traveled to some of the events that the Creative Assembly invited me to, but I haven't had a chance to go. So it's not their fault that I haven't played it. And when I say I'm frustrated, it's not because I'm frustrated because they haven't asked me to. It's just more frustration because I haven't had the opportunity. So I've never played Arena, but the thing is it's a free-to-play game. I'm not a fan of free-to-play games at all. I know there's a few good ones out there that people will point to say that, yes, they can be good. That's fine. Even the good ones I don't like. It's a personal preference, and it doesn't mean that you don't have to like it. I don't see a free-to-play game ever replacing a Total War game, a proper Total War game. And we've already been confirmed on the forums that we should expect basically the exact same type of multiplayer in Attila in Total War Warhammer. And let me phrase that. No, we're not going to see Germanic something, and I don't know if cavalry is going to be strong or if there's going to be dragons smashing everybody, whatever. They just, feature-wise, it's going to be similar to Attila. So from what it sounds like, we shouldn't, at this point, based on what they've said, and I've actually seen this in the forum, we shouldn't be expecting any new features in Total War Warhammer based on the quotes I've seen, like a Avatar Conquest or anything like that. So it's frustrating. I know that Total War is largely single player, but ignoring the multiplayer hurts the replayability of a game and utterly ends its life sooner than it should. There are still people playing Total War Rome multiplayer. Well, that's unbalanced too. I know, but it was good enough that people liked it, and it had a lot of neat features for its time. Yes, it's old. Yes, it's outdated. But I'm just saying that's the reason why people like it. Anyway, my Iceni army. I've got 3 heroic nobles, I think 6 chosen swordmen. I have a total sword spam, 4 levy freemen, and 3 scout riders. My intention here was to overwhelm and outnumber the Romans. They do have these Syrian archers. They're going to cause some hit point damage to my swords before I get into combat, unfortunately. But I did put my general on my flank to try and make sure that it wasn't my general taking that, because my general needs to live. The Roman had to pull back for me, and he paid dearly for it here. He took a terrible charge from my chosen swordsman, and he's going to get this legionary charged big time by my general. He should have used this cavalry to intercept and then come into combat, but he's scared of all these other units I have. So the Romans immediately outflanked, and I immediately have scout riders, and they're back. I let this scout rider get out microed, and it got caught. And then over here again, just outflanking with everything I have. Now there is a problem here. Now my men are going to do extremely well in combat here versus his veteran legionaries off the charge, and then in shield wall it will still be a tough fight for the chosen swordband, because veteran legionaries are ridiculously strong for their price, like ludicrously strong for their price. And the Roman infantry, I expect it to be good, but that's something that always still irritated me, because the Romans already had fantastic mid-tier infantry, and then they basically get super cheap elite infantry too. It was a point of irritation, but since the barbarian sword spams got so strong, you kind of need Rome to be that way in order to balance it. Now, this was a mistake. I let his cavalry slip through here, and he's going to be able to come back here and start ping-ponging off my units and just start routing them, and that's a bad problem when you're playing as the barbarians. They are not disciplined, and this is a big-time issue. So I'm going to pay dearly for this mistake here. Should have kept a levy freeman here, but I got overzealous to outflank. Otherwise, the engagements are going pretty well for me. I got 2 versus 1 charge here into these legionaries with my sword band. They're going to cause a lot of damage, but then this unit's now free to get around me. Over here, again, I've gotten my scout riders caught in a situation that I didn't want them in. But I'm going to use these levy freemen to my advantage, and then my general is over here just tanking this legionary. He's doing quite well. He is being fired upon, but there's not a great angle, and now the Syrian archers are going to get hit by my scout riders. Probably won't be enough to kill them, but I can cause a lot of damage. This Vigile is going to die regardless of whether it's in square, but he is buying himself time by doing this. But see, this rider's ahead of me. I have nothing I can do about it, and I start losing troops over here. This is a huge problem for me. Fortunately for me, at the same time, my general is about to bust through this legionary. And over here, this was a clutch move. This guy was going to actually probably fight his way out of this fight with all my sword bands, so I get behind him with the levy freeman and just start jabbing all the Romans in the back. And this is where levy freemen can carry their weight in gold, basically. The javelins are extremely deadly. So just watch this. I'm going to jab all these Romans, and I'm just sitting here picking off Romans, and it's so effective that I destroy this legionary unit and get my 2 sword band free, which was a very important move. This sword band that came around chasing the cav gets a great charge into these veteran legionaries, but that is a veteran legionary. There's only so much they're going to be able to hope to do, but they will get a few kills off the charge. And I'm going to bring these levy freemen back over here just to be placeholders as well, to try and slow the outflanking. as the Romans start to become victorious in certain sectors of the fight. Now, I did not use the headhunt on all my heroic nobles as I should have, and it was a huge mistake on my part. But the fight's going okay. I've got Levy Freeman to start chasing these archers out of the way. I've got Levy Freeman to give his cavalry a little bit of grief back here. This should have gone better. This heroic noble, though, is still in the fight, doing quite well. Managed to tank his way through a veteran legionary. My general rear charged these veteran legionaries, and they're now gone, but I am being shot by Syrian archers. So it's very critical that I use these Levy Freemen to push these archers off station. And I am going to be doing that, because otherwise my heroic noble here would eat it and die. So you can see I'm forcing his Syrian archers off station, and this is very, very important for my general. So chasing all three of these archers, he needs to move around me like this and then just run away so that he can get archers free to keep firing, and I'm depriving him of that for now. I do remember to use headhunt here, and I got into shield wall, so these legionaries are going to eat it pretty bad. Over here, these sword band did a great job holding up all the troops on this flank, and then I've got yeah, that's all the troops I have over here for now. The enemy general over here is trying to charge his way through my Levy Freemen, and they'll knock him over, and they can get through. This doesn't work like Attila, where you just take redonkulous losses. If you knock people over, you can pass through. It's actually something that I kind of miss, and you can certainly knock people over on Attila, but you take losses a lot easier disengaging from cav fights, so it's a lot different. And my opponent is desperately rear charging everywhere he can, but now my guys are in headhunt with second wind. I should have used, or with battle rhythm, sorry. I also have second wind on this general, so these legionaries are also going to eat it up against two heroic nobles. But this is a problem here. We've got two veteran legionary, or a veteran legionary and a legionary making its way in. Fortunately, this legionary starts to break at a very opportune moment, and my general is able to turn around and get a solid charge into these veteran legionaries, and this other heroic noble can also support. So the Romans will take more losses. My heroic noble here is going to pass 200 kills quite quickly. And I'm just going to keep chasing the enemy cavalry with my Levy Freemen. This is the value of Levy Freemen. I'm going to reinforce with more sword band here. Opponent does a good job of getting his legatus into him and causing a lot of damage. But he's got to be careful. He can't let his cavalry get stuck in a fight. And again, his archers are being chased off station by my Levy Freemen. And I keep trying to deny him opportunities to kill my Levy Freemen, and it's been very worthwhile for me, and it'll allow a lot of stuff like this where I'm going to get a very good charge with this chosen sword band. It's too bad that his guys presented their flank to me. I would have got an even better charge here, but still going to be able to kill a fair number of these veteran legionaries because they ignored the charge, and then I javelin them with my Levy Freemen. So managed to kill quite a few veteran legionaries there. A very good moment for me. My opponent's trying to rear charge me to death, but with my general alive, he's going to struggle to do this. My general is supporting the morale of all these troops. His general is still alive, though, too, but Roman troops are disciplined. These veteran legionaries starting to waver, but then they stabilize. So here I'm going to move these Levy Freemen up behind and hurl javelins like I did earlier. I've got like 1 or 2 javelins left. My opponent sees this, and he smartly charges out after me and forces me to retreat or lose my Levy Freemen. So I am forced to disengage here. And then his archers are back on station, so I have to chase them. And I'm going to move this Levy Freeman back into the fight. So this is a very desperate fight. It can swing either way. My opponent is rear charging for life. His legatus with 117 kills. Very impressive use of the legatus unit here. But his veteran legionaries here are starting to falter. It's very bad, but there are still 86 more legionaries right behind them. And my heroic noble there just routed. My general's still alive, but taking rear impact charges from the legatus. The legatus, though, is retreating as quickly as he can. But yeah, this is just definitely a bad situation for me. Now, my headhunt on this unit is recharging in probably about 20 seconds from being available, and I need it desperately right now because I'm just worried my general's going to die. I cannot believe my general hasn't died at this point. My Levy Freemen get their javelins off, and then I do a rear charge. My opponent's going to charge me again, so I'm going to pull away. No need in getting my guys killed here. That allows my general to finish off these veteran legionaries. And I keep getting rear charged by the legatus. I mean, again, great work by those 6 men, and they are killing my general slowly but surely. So again, an extremely desperate fight. I'm starting to catch his auxiliary Syrian archers, though. The Levy Freemen are quite fast. So here we are, down to a fight between these legionaries. And then I've got these Levy Freemen who are going to potentially get a rear charge on those 8 veteran legionaries. His general is close to death, and I've got more Levy Freemen that are going to be coming in. My headhunt is just about to be back, and I mean, not a minute too soon. I mean, I was just like, come on, come on, come on, I need it, I need it. It's almost there. I'm going to get charges on the Legionaries with my Levy Freeman, who actually have a pretty decent charge bonus. Not great, but 15. We'll take what we can get. He rear charges my Levy Freeman, which is a smart move. It doesn't take much to break the morale, and sure enough, he's going to do it. But not before I inflicted some pretty serious damage on the veteran legionaries, and then I did get my headhunt back. So now my heroic nobles, 266 kills, 17 men left, and I've got it into headhunt. Now he pops, he pops the loyalty of the 10th, or no, it's presence. I thought he used loyalty of the 10th. If he would have, then this game would have swung the other way. Now that was a very close, very intense fight with a lot of hard-hitting infantry. And the only thing that saved me here was just sheer numbers. The Romans also can field sheer numbers, which is why they're such a terrifying faction if you get them onto uneven or forested terrain where you can't get your charge as barbarians, because they will work you over in a grinder. Especially veteran legionaries, those guys are man-beast amongst infantry. But I mean, if you get a good charge with your barbarian infantry, like right here, or even here, did okay with these cheaper barbarian infantry, but where they didn't do as much charge damage, they suffered. Now, these number of kills here with the sword band is definitely worth it for me as well. This one especially, getting a lot of kills. That was probably the Vigiles, but I mean, all these kills over here, a lot of them were on veteran legionaries, and for a cheap unit, this is very nice. I did bungle my scout riders. This was a mistake on my part. There's no doubt about it. But, I mean, these heroic nobles here did what I needed them to and tanked pretty massively. This one I messed up. Again, 94 kills on a Levy Freeman's fantastic. 88 kills, 41. I mean, all these guys getting kills on these expensive units is worth it, and that's where the value of Levy Freeman ends up stacking up. Very, very good games against Mr. Zeal, Anger, the something. I can't see his whole name, but again, it's been fun. Hopefully I'll find him on here again. I've been on here a few nights and managed to find his game, so maybe I'll be able to get some more with him. Hope you all enjoyed the online battles. Again, I will still be recording some on Attila. I'm not saying that I quit or won't do any more Attila. I just don't find it as entertaining from a multiplayer standpoint right now as I do either Shogun 2 or Rome 2. I think Rome 2 is probably one of my favorites right now, followed very closely by Shogun 2. I mean, it's kind of a flop between the two, but I really do think I like Rome 2 better, mostly just because of the time period, although Shogun 2 probably obviously has more features and a little better balance to it. But yeah, I mean, both very fun. And of course, Medieval 2 still got some great multiplayer in it as well. And Napoleon's not my favorite from a multiplayer standpoint, but it is fun and it looks good. But yeah, it just seems like some of the older games maybe had a little more features and balance to it than the other ones, which is kind of inexcusable in my mind. You spend a lot of time, like say for instance in Attila, improving the campaign, recreating hordes from the days of the original barbarian invasion, and adding some interesting features, bringing back the family trees, bringing back all those things we loved, and then adding in a few other things. But it's just frustrating that they didn't. Why not just put a little extra time into it and balance up that multiplayer? It's just something that doesn't make sense to me why they don't pursue that. Again, some people are like, it's because everybody plays single player. I know, but if you're not going to release it working, just don't release it. Don't release the multiplayer, because then it's a frustration point. So that would be my suggestion to the Creative Assembly. Some of you would be like, don't tell them not to make multiplayer. I love it. Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're going to release a game, either release all of it working or cut out the parts that don't work. That way you're releasing a more complete product in my mind. And I say this as someone, again, who loves Total War and really wants the Creative Assembly to be successful. And I think that, obviously, I'm just saying this as some friendly feedback from, again, someone who loves the game. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.